attendee ID or the numeric meeting password followed by pound.
Good morning. Do we have anybody on the call? This is Dory.
This is George with Green Zone Transportation, Region 3.
Good morning, George.
This is Ryan with Rolling Shuttle Services in Region 7.
This is Judy with AJ Transport. This is Carol at Lost River Area Transportation.
Sergey Arutyunov, Idaho Transportation Company.
This is Carrie with Shuttle Service.
Robert, Medical Transport.
Darren and Lisa Talley, Whitetail Transportation. Mike Mann with ADP Services.
Regional Transit. Let's check. Will Hathaway, Home and Away, and Roundup.
Chad and Tort, T Transportation.
That's the way we're going, all right?
Yeah. Well, this is Dory. We're just like at 9:04, so we will give everybody just a couple of more minutes to join the call, and then we'll get started, okay? This is Dory. Did I just hear someone join?
My name's Jamie with Victory Medical Transport.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi.
Who all do we have from the state that's on the call?
Hi, Stephanie. This is Matt. I'm on.
Thanks, Matt. So we also have MPM on with us. As you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure, Ron Dunbar, Amelia Ramirez.
Great. And then from the state, we've got Matt Wimmer. We have Dory Boyle, Sarah Stiff, and Tiffany Kinsler. Thank you all this morning for joining the call. We're here to answer any questions you may have about the increase in the rate. Matt, do you have a few things you want to say before we get started?
Sure. I think just to open this up, we appreciate you all being on the call this morning. We know that you're busy people and that this is a busy time of day for you all. But we wanted to talk to you as quickly as possible after the rate sheets went out. So thank you for joining us. One thing I will ask for on this call is that I know that there may be some high emotions, and I would appreciate it if everybody could be professional and respectful. We certainly will do that on our end, and we would ask that of all of you as well. And so I think there are a lot of questions about the 28% that was out there, and so I'll just speak to that real briefly. So to begin with, that always has been an estimate, and that estimate was based on the amount so when we put in our budget request, and this goes back a couple of years, or a year at least, we worked with all of you on the rate increase with Milliman, or with a group of providers on the rate increase with Milliman, and we came up with that 6.8 million figure based on that. And then we submitted that with our budget request to the governor's office and then to the legislature. And that 28% figure was based on a rate increase from the previous year. That was the best information that we had at the time of what we were spending on transportation and what the rate increase would be. So that always has been an estimate. Now we have better information. And the information that we show is that of the approximately $24.5 million that we spend on the brokerage, pretty much all of that has gone to providers, with very little going to the broker. So we've also always been very upfront about the fact that some of this money, the $6.8 million, is going to go to the broker, the 6.8 is going to go to the broker, but that we would send 80% of that to providers. So based on that spending on providers, what those numbers come out to is about 21% rather than 28. And that's what your rate sheets reflect. So I'll just pause there. That's kind of a real brief explanation of that, and I know that's what a lot of you are interested in this morning. So I'll pause there, and then...
Matt, this is Darren Talley with Whitetail. I do want to thank you, and all the providers want to thank you and IDHW for pushing through the rate increase. And we would just ask, is it public information to send to us on how much is being paid out by MTM, or is that private?
Yeah, and we can send. We'll be following up with some more detail on this. I know you guys want to see actual numbers, and Tiffany and her team are preparing that, and we will be sending that out very shortly. Just showing that, yes, here's what the spend on providers was last year, and here's the rate increase and how we got to those numbers. So we'll be sending that out.
Thank you.
Other questions on that?
Matt, this is Terry with Treasure Valley Transit. I've noted on the last several calls you had made the comment that MTM has not made money, and you've stated that again today. Mm-hmm. And my question, rate. Were they not provided with adequate information in order for that to be a problem when they bid on the contract?
So they bid that contract at the same time. So their bid was the same one at the same time that Vail had bid that. So yes, they had some information on that, but things do change over time. And that was back in 2015, I think it was. So it was a ways back.
So that leads to my second question then. So they're almost 1.5 years into the contract. There's 1.5 more. Do you intend to go out for bid again based on all the information that has been forthcoming at the end of the 3-year contract that they have?
So we have a call set up for next week with all of you, and we'll be talking more about the potential for rebid and those types of things on that call next week. So this call today is really just to answer questions around the rate increase, but we do intend to have those discussions with you in short order.
Thank you, Matt.
So other questions, Chris? Okay, well, this might end up being a really short call. I was thinking that we'd have a lot more questions on this, but I'll just pause and see if there's anything else any folks want to add or ask.
Matt, Darren from Whitetail again. We do want to ask why the rate increase is also tied to the new first MTM liquidated damages.
So Darren, I know MTM has been talking to you all about liquidated damages. That's something that's been in the works for a long, long time. With the new contract here, I think it's a reasonable time to get going on that and get that started. So that's been a long time coming, and so I think it's just, the opportunity was there, and this is a reasonable time to do it. One thing I will say about liquidated damages is, there's folks with a lot of concerns about those. We want to see those applied fairly. I think MTM has every intention of applying those fairly and in a way that is, basically just upfront and in a way that is perfectly clear about how this happens. That's the reason why this came out at the first time.
Line, but we have a pretty bad connection on the conference call, and we could hardly hear you. Could you just repeat what you just said, please?
Sure, and it might help if folks muted their line.
Somebody needs to mute their phone over there. Thank you.
Okay, that sounds a little better to me. So just to repeat that, so the liquidated damages have been in the works for a long time, and we've all known that that was something that was coming, and this rate increase presented an opportunity to change provider agreements with or provider contracts all at once, and it's just a reasonable time to be doing that.
Matt, I have well, I don't know if you will be able to answer that. This is Sergey with Idaho Transportation. But just in regards to what you just answered, the liquidated damages originally, and we've been told on numerous times, it's not going to start until August 1st. Now they are tied up to this rate increase, which is comes at us on a very short notice, with very increased, like a quadruple time liquidated damages increases. I understand this is not your department. However, why they move it so quickly? It feels like someone got very greedy and wants even more money. The rate increase is great, thank you, but by giving us that much. But it's just like set it up right away without us even prepare to take this money plus more money on top of it. Why they move it so quickly within 2 days, from August 1st to July 1st. That's what everyone is concerned also, who I spoke with. Thank you.
Father, this is Dory.
This is Sergey.
And Sergey, I'm sorry. MTM plan is still set for August 1st. Nothing is taking place beginning today as far as the liquidated damages.
Okay, thank you for answering that, because when they sent the documents, everything was dated as July 1st. What I'm talking about, like when they send in a June 26th or 27th something which is shows July 1st on the bottom of their page, it sounds like it's going to go into effect on July 1st. That's why it was my question.
Dory, and this is Slava now. My question is a little bit different from Sergey. So my question is, it's been brought up last time on the meeting, with so many problems in MTM system, which is creating so much extra dam about the MTM rate increase, but we also have uneven pay for the doing same job. I would like to know what needs to be done in order to stop that discrepancy in the rates, because nothing we cannot do, because 90% is based, our transportation is based on that. So basically, everything I've done in my power to satisfy everything possible that MTM wants, and then I know that there's discrepancy what they're paying us to other companies. So those second question as well. Thank you.
So I don't think we can answer that question today. This is Matt again. But we may be able to have some discussion on that call. I think that is obviously something that we've heard from different providers about the differential in rates across providers, and something that we will continue a conversation on. I don't think today we're just really here to talk about the rate increases and the rate sheets that went out Friday, and so I don't think we have an answer for that today. As to the question on liquidated damages, I'm not sure we have a whole lot to share, but Ron, maybe you have something on that might be helpful on how liquidated damages would roll out.
Good morning, everyone. This is Emilio. I have some information that, as far as the comments there regarding the system and improvements and things of that sort, to help alleviate some of those concerns that were initially brought up when liquidated damages were presented back in May, or in June rather. So as far as the system, there is an update that will go into effect. As far as when that is, I don't have an exact date when that will take place, but it's related to an issue that several of you brought up as far as how trip legs are showing up in the system, where a return leg is showing up still as an A leg and not a B leg, in effect indicating that a provider was late when you're truly not. So that is an area of opportunity that we've identified that our IT leadership group is currently working on. I actually just received an update on that on Friday, that they're looking at a fix as soon as it's rolled out, and we'll communicate that to the group as well.
Thanks, Emilio.
Yep.
And this is Matt. I'll just add one thing that I think we would really expect that MTM would only be applying liquidated damages when they are very confident that it is something that is an issue with the provider and not an issue on their end. So we don't think that would be the right way to do it, and I think MTM is on the same page with us on that. So that's all I'll say on that topic.
This is Debbie with Whitetail Transportation. I would love for that to be the case, but just this week I replied to 2 client complaints. Took me an hour to research and respond to each one individually because we turned back their trips. Now what had happened with each one of those is we turned them back, and MTM immediately put them back in our portal with different trip ID numbers. Now, why would the client complain that we turned them back if those trips had been reassigned as they were supposed to be? I never should have even had to respond to those complaints. We turned them back in the timely manner that we were supposed to, within the correct time frame, and yet I had to respond to those complaints. So, again, MTM never should have even sent me those complaints. It's the same thing with liquid happen. When we turn back a trip right now, MTM's giving them a new trip ID number and putting them right back on us. So I would love to say that MTM's not going to hit us with liquidated damages, but they're sending us complaints. They're given new trip ID numbers to trips that we've turned back and putting them right back in our portal. Last week we also saw 2 trips that we turned back with new trip ID numbers come back in our portal in a scheduled status. So if we don't see those, we don't go pick up the member, is that a no-show?
So Debbie, this call today is not about liquidated damages, but I definitely appreciate everybody's
it's not, Matt.
concern.
Of course it's not.
So I'd asked everyone to kind of keep this professional at the start of the call, and we're here to answer your questions about the rate sheet, and I don't want this to devolve into an argument. So I'd ask everyone if they have questions about the rate sheet, if they have questions about the rate increases.
Well, we're always being shut down, Matt. Matt, we're always being shut down by you by postponing it. We have questions, obviously, and we're not getting it. You're postponing it every time.
So
and we still have another 40 minutes to talk about it.
So the call today is to talk about the rate increase. That's the purpose we scheduled it for. If it's going to turn into an argument, then I think we're just going to have to end it.
Nobody's arguing, but we want an answer. We'd like answers.
Matt, this is Preston Wildwood. I believe in a perfect world with all you guys, we had the rate increase. It really won't be that big of a deal. The liquidated damages really wouldn't be that big of a deal to us if we weren't afraid that we were going to get that things were going to get messed up on the MTM side. It'd be wonderful, and if in a perfect world we did, everything was set up to be perfect. But everything that everybody's been saying right now is literally been true. Within the last 2 weeks, we've gotten trips added on, not even like a couple of hours before the client appointment, and we've had to reschedule our whole day, or that have been reoccurring trips for months or even years. That's one. Number 2 is we've had many times there are clients that are not on. Many times there are client appointments where the times are, and I know Amelia kind of touched on this, but the times are goofed up, and so our drivers will put the actual time that they got them there because it was their actual appointment versus what MTM had put initially. So then we're having to go in and change all our paperwork, which just makes that much more of a headache. And number 3, the rate increase, it's fine. We all enjoy that, and that's fine. But we're also, I think the biggest fear is, and the biggest reason why we're all a little bit skeptical and are a bit scared, is because there has been a lot of promises that have not been kept up with fully. There has been minor changes, and when we try to reach out and we try to approach you guys about it, it's all like the previous man stated. It's always been postponed, and I get it. You guys want to write down these questions, and you guys kind of talk them over and kind of come up with your own. You want to keep it as professional as possible, but I think the biggest concern here is there's not enough transparency, immediate transparency, and so that's
okay. Well, I think that's fair enough. I totally understand the concerns about liquidated damages and concerns that sorry, there's a lot of noise on the line. So if folks could mute their lines unless they're speaking, that'd be really helpful.
Hey Matt, this is Debbie again. I apologize. I may have been confused. I thought that we had to sign the Schedule B at the same time as the Schedule A. So that might have been some confusion on my part, because if that's not the case, then the Schedule B really is a non-issue on this phone call. But if we do have to sign the Schedule B with the Schedule A, then it kind of is an issue. So maybe I was confused on that.
I can't really speak to that, but maybe Ron or Tiffany or somebody might be able to answer that question.
Okay, again, I apologize if I was confused on that issue, because if they're not tied together at this point, then you're correct, it is a non-issue on this call.
So this is Ron. So if you review that documentation that was sent over to you, that amendment includes both the Schedule A and the Schedule B.
Then the liquidated damages at the same time as the Schedule A, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Hi, Matt. This is Victoria from Wildwood. My concern is, my concern is, well, it's a big concern, is on the liquidated damages. There's 1,000